Hélène Boucher is one of the few Westerners who had the privilege to spend time at the Huaxia Zhineng Qigong Center, the famous medicineless hospital by Dr. Ming. She shares with us her memories of the times she spent there, of her experiences, and of many miracles. Embrace yourself for an incredible story with Hélène. My name is Torsten Lüdecke, and this is the Wisdom Qigong Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wisdom Qigong Podcast. Today, I've got Hélène Boucher with me. Hélène, do I pronounce your family name correct, Boucher?
Absolutely. You are one of the rare that pronounce it this way, and this is exactly how it is pronounced. Hey, Hélène. Good morning, Torsten. Very nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Hélène. Hélène is actually French by nationality, but she lives in Oregon, and she is one of the few Westerners that ever went and spent time at the Huaxia Zhineng Qigong Center, the famous medicineless hospital of Dr. Pang. So when I met Hélène for the first time, I said, you have to be on this podcast. We would like to hear everything about it. She says, well, it's 35 years ago or something. So she has to really dig deep into her memories. But there are many beautiful things that she's going to talk about today. Hélène, why don't you tell us a little bit of how you got started with Zhineng Qigong so that it took you to the Huaxia Center eventually?
Well, I got started, I tell you how. I don't remember how, but I remember our group. I was with a group. How did I ended up into that group? I don't know. Probably divine guidance or something. Because at the time there was no internet. So, but I ended up in a group that was going to China, and the furthest that I remember of that specific episode is at the airport with the group taking the flight to China. And so we arrived. We were maybe 15 people, if that. And we had a guide in Beijing when we arrived, and right away we went to the train to take the train to the Huaxia Zhineng Qigong Hospital, because there were two places. There were the training center and the Huaxia Zhineng Qigong Hospital. So what I can say that I remember is when we arrived at the Huaxia Zhineng Qigong, oh my God, it was like very familiar to me. It was like I knew this place. And the architecture, the gates, the round gate to enter, concession of houses, and because there were the hospital, the big building, and there were little concession beside. So it was like, oh my God, it was a feeling of coming home. I knew so well that place. It was like very, very familiar. And it felt good too. It felt very good. And that's how my first impression of the Huaxia Zhineng Qigong, plus, the hundreds of people walking around and doing what they were doing, and which we were not understanding at the beginning, but it didn't take too long that we understood.
Were you familiar with Qigong at that time?
No, I didn't know Qigong at all.
So this was your first encounter with Qigong, and you get straight into the Huaxia Zhineng Qigong Center. So what was that like?
Okay, so it was very, in just few words, it's very hard to explain just few words, but I'll tell you a little bit of my few words. Is just like being in the presence of many Jesus Christ. People that walks around and just do this or send a thought and heal instantly. I had a friend who had some bite from mosquitoes or something, and her arm was reacting very much, and she stopped one of the teacher there, very young teacher. Matter of fact, I think it was Master Liu, but I'm not sure. But it felt like it wasn't at that time. He was in his 20s. It feels like could be, and he just came and maybe it's not him. He just came and he just passed his hand above her arm. Everything disappeared instantly. And it was, it was phenomenal because the patient there, it's not like a hospital that had 30 patients. They had hundreds and probably thousands of patients there.
Right.
As a matter of fact, they had 2,000 or 3,000 patients when I was there. And everybody gathered to do the practice of the Qin and Qigong. What happened at that hospital, so they have their teachers to teach people how to do the practices and about the practices and about everything. I could not understand because I was not speaking Chinese. I was just getting what was translated. And but the people were gathering, everybody at the same place in the morning to do the practices, and then after that, everybody was divided in groups or were going with their group. Group that I felt was there was separation of group depending of the disease, maybe right. All cancer together, all the Parkinson together, or the group, the categories of health challenges. They were in group and they were gathering, and it felt that, well, they were sharing probably their experience or since they came there while doing the practices. But I felt also they were sharing their emotion. Although I cannot be sure of that because I was not speaking Chinese. It was a lot of feeling. So they were working together and everybody was helping each other. It was like, and in the practice in the morning, there were people that could not stand up. They were paralyzed or whatever. And many, many times I saw people in wheelchair that were carried by their family member, and the family members were attaching them to a tree so that they can stand up for the practice. Right. And they were doing the practice with their mind only. People that could not move, they were attached to the tree, but their mind seemed to follow all the movement and everything that was happening. It was so incredible. And you say, well, if there were so many Jesus Christ there, why not everybody was totally healed in an instant, poof, and goodbye. But the principle was, as I thought, as I understood, was they did not want necessarily to heal a patient, but show them how they can heal themselves. And in 1 month time there, a lot of people were healing themselves. How empowering is that? I mean, they can heal. People could heal themselves. That was giving back the power to each and every one. It was like just so phenomenal.
Right.
And we had we had practices, with teachers here and there. Excuse me. And also, I think 2 days before leaving, 2 or 3 days before leaving, we were called to a class. At times, we were meeting the masters, and that was translated. The conversation were translated, and they were there to answer our question and all of that. But that evening that I'm talking about, we were brought to a little class where everybody had their beautiful little seat, that you bring, that you fold and you open and you sit. And and there was about a dozen people, maybe, a dozen people there sitting, and the teacher was standing up. And when we arrived in the room, they were sitting and they were passing a wood match, about, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 inch high wood match, through mirrors, through a mirror, through matter, just for you to. So they offer us some seats, and we sat, and bring us some wood match and mirror, and now do the same. So focus. And obviously, I don't remember any member of our group having passed the wood match through the mirror. But then the teacher said, all that translated, said, okay, let go of the mirror and try to pass the wood match through your hand, because the hand is organic. And we were told that it does not take like hours of focus to succeed. The success was depending only in one thing. It was the pure thought of doing it, with the pure thought in an instant, in a moment. And so anyway, for us, putting the match through the hand was going to be easier, because it's organic. And in our Westerner mind, we cannot go through matter. It's hard, and we cannot unless you break it and all of that. So we have very strong conditioning about matter. And it's ingrained in our belief, and anything that could say the contrary is unacceptable. That's why she told us to use our hand. And so in our group, I think there were 2 that did that. And I more or less did it. I focus, and my wood match, kind of I did not push, but kind of stood, and I put my hand like this, and the wood match was like that. And I put my hand like that, and the wood match was like that. I screamed. I screamed, because in a flash of a second, I thought, my God, I'm going to have a hole. Will it close? Will I be able to pull out the wood, or it's going to stick there? And, I freaked out. And but it was incredible experience. Yeah.
My name is Torsten Lüdecke, and I have news for you. you can now access our podcasts in a very different way. If you would like to go back to any of the episodes and you just remember a certain topic or you have a certain question, please use our new bot and ask that question. Not only will you get an answer based on all the episodes we have produced before, you will also be able to directly access the very episode at exactly the point your topic and your question was mentioned. Please use this bot and make sure you don't miss out on this wonderful new feature of our podcast. I would like to add that the Huaxia Zhineng Qigong Center didn't just have the training center or the hospital. They also had a research center where they were testing these things because they wanted to use these what we call paranormal abilities. Now, for humankind, for example, they would work with the energy, with the chi, to get a better harvest from when they plant the corn, for example. So they had a big division dedicated to this research, and this is where all the results come from, and this is where all these little exercises come from that we do today in many of our teachings. So I know for somebody who's never done Zhineng Qigong, this sounds like we are talking about crazy stuff here, but exercises like spoon bending or reading the cards is common practice in Zhineng Qigong trainings these days, in particular with children. They find it so easy. And I myself have been to a training just 2 weeks ago, which is about seeing without eyes. You basically close the eyes or get a black mask, and then you see, and it's incredible, how far you can take it. And for me, I'm a beginner when I do these things, but the people that have been practicing this for longer, they get incredible results. So I'm not surprised that if you say that at that center they were able to take a solid object and put it through another solid object, that it actually, was part of the research. Unfortunately, these research papers are all in Chinese, so I think it's a little early for us to access them. But with artificial intelligence and these translation tools moving so fast, I think it's a question of 1 or 2 years where all these research will be accessible to us, and we can find out more about what was exactly done at the center.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are just little experience.
Yes.
There are two. Maybe I keep the biggest experience for after. The day before we left, we are all called to the auditorium over there. There were 2,000 people. And we were on the stage behind the master who would be doing a demonstration. So, and it was translated that too. So he started to organize. I didn't know at the time what it was, organize the chi field, but we were told after. And then he asked people, that was translated, he asked people, okay, so after maybe 15, 20 minutes, if that, of organization of the chi field, he said, okay, now, who in the audience has a cancer tumor that can be touched, that can be seen? So, I would say, the number, a dozen of people got up, maybe more. And he went to, and that was translated as he was seeing and saying things. So he said, where is your tumor? And I remember this first guy was under the armpit, and there was a tumor there. And he said, so he asked the guy, you can touch it? How is it? It's hard. And I said, okay. He said, roll your shoulders back, roll your shoulders forward, turn your head one side, the other side. I say that maybe it was not necessarily just that,
right.
And he said, touch it. The guy touched, gone. Gone. Second person, third person, all of them gone. Just move your head. Gone. Wherever they were in their body. And the last person, and he said, and you, where is your tumor? She had a big bulge here on the neck. He said, touch it, it's hard. Okay. He said, okay, turn your head, turn your this. Said, touch it. It was still there. So he said, do this, so move your shoulders, touch it. It was still there. It was softer a little bit, but it was still there. And then after 3 or 4 times, he said, come on, are you, how much are you attached to that? Are you ready to let it go or what?
Yes.
What are you hanging on to? And he said, touch it. Gone.
Right.
So that was very, very impressive. Very impressive. But the most extraordinary was the day that Dr. Pang came, and apparently he was coming to the center once a month, and people who kind of could not heal themselves, he was just finishing it. So here are thousands of people. We're outside, and everybody's sitting on their little seat, fabulous little seat. And then there's rows, 1 or 2 rows of people in wheelchair. And in front of those people are people who are laid down because they cannot even sit. And some for years. And in the wheelchair too, there was a guy, I remember the story, with who we talked later, or he had been a businessman, he had had an accident, and anyway, he was in a wheelchair for 16 years. There was nothing the traditional medicine could do. And so the day start, and everybody, there are few leaders in the front that they're singing or they're clapping their hand at the same time, and singing. And then Dr. Pang arrive, and they continue. And Dr. Pang meets everyone one by one. Everyone is brought. So therefore, we had the incredible blessing to meet with him. It was so, I cannot describe the feeling. Just so incredible, out of this world. And anyway, after us, there were the people in that were laid down on a bed that rolls, were brought to him in the middle there. And I could see, I was behind him, like maybe I would say 15 feet, just right behind him, or 20 feet maybe. And he talked a little bit, and always with a smile and a gentleness and love, I guess, incredible love for everyone. So talk a little bit, very gently, very nicely. I don't know what he was saying. And then he moved his hand to take the hand of the person in bed. So the person sat up and walked away. For sure, when the people from the wheelchair or the bed were walking or were standing up, they had someone on either side because their muscle are, totally atrophy. And but they were moving. They were moving. More so on the bed, they were sitting. It's like being in another world, and telling that to people just take it and smile, say, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's an extraordinary blessing.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest challenge, because these things always sound, as you said, as if it's from another world, but it's not. I mean, you've been there. There's actually footage on YouTube where you can see him doing exactly what you described, with a long line of people in wheelchairs or not being able to move. And he just, talks to them a little bit, takes their hand, smiles with his incredible laugh, and then they suddenly start moving or standing up. So it is as how it is, and we know it's working. And you said this was not a group of 10 crazy people. There were thousands of people at the hospital, and they came for a reason, because when they returned back to their villages and people could see that they had healed, they knew there was something about it that they also wanted if they were in a difficult health situation. And this is the success story of Zhineng Qigong and Huaxia Zhineng Qigong Center. I just wanted to add something, because you said Dr. Pang came once a month. I think what you meant, he came once a month to the hospital part, because there were many parts of the Huaxia Center.
Yes.
So he was obviously present all the time, but he had to divide his attention to the different sections. And he also totally trusted in the healing abilities of each of his students. They were not called patients, they were called students there. And as each of his doctors, which were not called doctors or masters, they were just called teachers. So he totally trusted their abilities, which is also a breakaway from Chinese tradition, where the master is the all-knowing and he can do the healing, towards now every one of us can do the work for ourselves and for others. And I think this is the beauty of Zhineng Qigong. So I think there's some great things that you're sharing here.
Yeah, this is, I think, the most precious way, because it gives the power back to the people to heal themselves.
Right.
And everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. We just need to learn. We never learned that, oh my God, we can do that. And a lot of Zhineng Qigong is, okay, there are the movements, but there are also, and there is the knowledge also of everything, the environment around, and like. But I think the power and the greatness of it is the work, the mastery with the mind, the development of the mind, that each and every individual on this planet has an extraordinary mind. Our mind is not what we just think that it is in a limited way,
Yeah. Now, is there anything else you would like to share about your time at the Huaxia Center?
It was, everybody was so from their heart. We did not understand them, but, we could kind of at times communicate in different ways. A place of love, a place of great, great love. And I think that it starts with the love of self, to be open to this enough. And the food was extraordinary. And the food, I learned at a certain point at the beginning, we had, like Chinese, when you go to a Chinese restaurant, there's, tens of little food here and there. So we had tables like that. And I just learned that food were going with the element. They were food from with the intent to bring the 5 elements on the table. I felt that it was very interesting as well.
All right. Mm-hmm. And then you left the Huaxia Center, went back to the US, and your life went on for around 35 years or something. And now you're back learning the very techniques that you experienced all those years back then. But maybe you can take us quickly through the next 35 years and tell us what happened.
It's a major... some of the major things. When I went back, for sure, first of all, I taught that to my husband, and we were doing it every day. And I with the very ignorance I had, because just I could understand just so much. I taught like lift you up, put you down. At the time, we had a practice called Xing Sheng Shang and Twisant Merge. But it was mainly the lift you up, put you down, and some people that were doing it a bit more, Xing Sheng Shang. And I don't know if I pronounce it right. Also, it's maybe Xing Sheng Shuang, or, over the years, it kind of changed. But I taught that for maybe a year. And then we moved, and just my husband and I, we did it for 4 years. But we had an incredible health. We were very strong and in harmony, and then life, goes around us and pull us here, pull us there, and basically, kind of we kind of left it a little bit, and went on to other experiences, because we were so healthy, and we even did not phantom to be sick one day.
And also, there was probably no community you could connect with at that point, right?
No, that's right. There was no internet. So it was like just, through real letters or phone, But that's amazing. This is really another lifetime. Now, what's important for me is to master my mind. No matter what you do, no matter what is possible, anything is possible. There is no limit.
I think that's a beautiful closing word, Hélène. So thank you very much for sharing all your experiences here in the Huaxia Center, and a little bit about your personal journey as well. I think this is very, very valuable, because, as you know, not many people were lucky and had the chance to be there personally. And although you didn't speak the language, I think you got so much out of this experience, and you learned so much that it's definitely wonderful. And I'm very grateful for you to share it here with our students and our teachers on this program.
Just before we go, I just want to say that, and Zhineng Qigong now makes everything I learned hold together, makes sense.
We trust you enjoyed this conversation, and we invite you to subscribe to our podcast so we can stay in touch and notify you of future episodes. We will end today's episode with the 8 verses meditation performed by Zhineng Qigong teacher Katrin Hendricks. Enjoy. To get your free ebook on the 8 verses meditation, please check the show notes below.